It feels awkward talking to a camera, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
This is gonna be fun.
This is gonna be fun. We're gonna have a fun time. Hi, Mom! And welcome back to this video. So today we're going to be doing a second installment of Makeup and Mental Health. This is my friend Chris.
Hello all.
So we're not going to be actually doing makeup today because Chris doesn't wear makeup.
I know.
So instead of me sitting here and doing it while he sits here, which would be awkward, we're going to put on this face mask together and we're going to do what I'm calling Mask and Chats about mental health. Very catchy name because I'm very... because I'm very prepared, and also this feels weird to do with another person, but I'm doing it because I'm talented.
Special guest.
Special guest. What we're gonna do, I'm gonna take this and I'm just gonna do it. You just squirt it in your hands. You wanna...
Okay.
You want me to do it?
Yeah. You take it off? Oh,
No.
there it is.
There it is. Okay, and just do like a thin layer. We're masking now. See, look. We look like sea creatures. You have a beard, so good luck with that.
Yeah, I have to mask my beard.
You're gonna be exfoliated.
I'm gonna feel so much better.
Men are always like, I can't do skincare because I'm a man. And I'm like, what about your penis makes it so that you cannot take care of your skin?
Yeah, well, you see, I put on lotion. That's about the most skincare I do.
That's okay. At least it's something. At least you're not ashy.
No, but this winter, let me tell you something. When winter comes, you better have the lotion.
Do you hear my dog screaming?
Yes.
If you hear screaming, I did not kidnap anyone. It's my dogs. They're upset that they're being put away. Let me yell at them real quick.
Okay, I got it on my face.
Hey.
So, we're going to be talking about schizoaffective disorder, which is something that I have. And basically, it's the symptoms of schizophrenia, but it only pops up when you're under stressful situations or if you got a trigger or something like that. She pretty much explained what it was like with OCD, but with pure OCD. So I have an acute version of schizophrenia. I was first diagnosed with schizophrenia back in 2013, and then after that I went back to the hospital and I got a second diagnosis when I had another relapse. So, do you have a question for me?
Well, I was gonna say, because I've watched a couple of videos on Schizoaffective, especially after I met you and another friend that we have that has it, and I wanted to know more. And Dr. Tracy Marks, who's a psychiatrist on YouTube, she said that schizoaffective is a combination between schizophrenia and a mood disorder.
Okay.
So like
So I learned something new today.
schizophrenia and bipolar, or schizophrenia and depression. So would you say that you have either one of those?
I would say I have schizophrenia and depression, because I haven't been diagnosed with depression, but I do feel it.
Okay, gotcha. And if you had schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, that means that you would have both depression and manic episodes. Have you ever had a manic episode? A manic episode is a really elevated mood where you might have like a sense of grandiosity, like you might have reckless behavior, doing things like you might not sleep, kind of operating on a really upscale sense, right?
Yes. I've had manic episodes probably 2 or 3 times. They've been kind of weird. Usually I'm outside and I'm doing something and I'll go very far from where I live, like walking, and then I'll walk back home. Other than that, I have delusions while I'm doing it.
Okay.
So that's a big thing with schizophrenia is delusions, hallucinations. They can be auditory or visual. You also, diaphragm. She's clawing my sweatpants.
You can pick her up if you want.
She looks like she's having fun.
I think most people know what depression is, but depression is basically the opposite of that. Not doing anything.
You have high highs and low lows.
Yeah. Delusions are mostly mental, right?
Yes.
So it's like more of what you think, and a hallucination is more of what you see or hear, right?
Right. I've had the hallucination where I saw a crescent moon and it turned into a full moon.
Okay.
That's one hallucination I've had. And I've also had, I don't know what it is, but with my peripheral vision, I'll see hallucinations too, like people staring at me. Another one that I've had is, well, a delusion I've had is certain things happen to certain people the way that I see it's gonna happen in my mind. Like I'll play out a scenario and like something will trigger it. Like for example, I was watching the news while I was in the hospital and it said Hugo Chavez had died. And I thought of the movie Hugo by Martin Scorsese, and I thought about an Italian grandfather that I knew to a friend of mine, her grandfather. And when that happened, I had a manic episode and I started crying real profusely and I started getting really angry, didn't want to leave my room, didn't want to do anything. So they gave me a shot to go to sleep and I had some hallucinations of some guy.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at Chris, my cat is come here.
She wants my attention, that's what she's doing.
Okay, this is our second special guest. So Diaphina, otherwise known as Mean Kitty.
I had an auditory hallucination where I heard a man clearing his throat, and I would hear auditory hallucinations of people crying. I would have that too, and also something that is a telltale sign that I'm about to have a manic episode or a relapse is when I'm trying to go to sleep and I see behind my eyelids, I'll see lights and they'll move and stuff like that. And when I see that, I'm like, oh no, something's about to happen.
Something's happening.
Yeah.
So what would you say, how does it feel if you have a hallucination or a delusion? Like, are you aware of it or are you so caught up in it that you don't really know what's happening?
Well, with schizophrenia, you can't really tell what's real and what's not real sometimes unless you're medicated.
Yeah.
So for me, it feels real, but I know it's not. Like I've seen sometimes, like I was watching the news on Fox 6, Alabama, Birmingham. When that happened, the person on the TV turned around and looked at me from my side of the view of the TV, and then she looked back at the person that was talking. It was very scary when it happened, but I just got used to it.
Okay. So how often? So now you would consider yourself to be in recovery now?
I'm in recovery now. I haven't had a relapse for 2 years, back in 2018.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of knew that about you, but that's still really awesome.
Yeah.
So something I wanted to talk about, like, so the reason I do these mental health videos or have started to do them is because of the stigma around so many things.
Right.
And to try and alleviate that by having open, honest conversations. And I feel like schizo disorders are something that really have a stigma behind them.
Right.
People think that people with schizo disorders are like serial killers, or they throw the word psycho around and stuff like that.
Right.
So what would you want people to know about your disorder?
What I would like people to know about the disorder is it happens to 1 in 100 people. So 1 out of 100 people will get it.
So it's more common probably than people think.
Right. It's more common than more people think. There's how many people in the United States? We'll research that. You can put that in the video, Kayla.
Put the number.
Like over my page or something. And it happens between teenage years, so between 17 and 21.
Okay.
For women, it could be a little later.
Okay.
But that's when it usually happens. I was just doing some research on a person. His name is Buddy Bolden. He is a cornetist, which is the cornetto, it's like a trumpet. And in New Orleans, he was the founder of the genre of jazz. And it went on to get inspired by Louis Armstrong, people from New Orleans, the type of style they have there. And he had schizophrenia. His was brought on by excessive drinking.
Okay.
And he didn't get it. He didn't get it until he was in his 30s. But still, you can get it from substance abuse or a traumatic event. And for me, it was a traumatic event.
Yeah. Okay. Do you know if it's genetic?
It can be.
Okay. I watched this channel on YouTube called Living Well with Schizophrenia, and I think she said if you have one schizophrenic parent, it's a 10% chance that your kid will have schizophrenia. I don't know if that's true, but that's what the lady from Living Well with Schizophrenia said.
Yes. We'll go with that. She knows what she's talking about.
It was, and I haven't said this to you before, but I'll share this with you now. Meeting you and meeting some of the other people I know now with schizo disorders was really important for me because I think I had a stigma about it in a way that I wasn't really aware of. I knew about my own mental health disorders, and I was like aware of the stigma around those, but when I became aware of like, oh, this is just like my regular friend who has this whole personality outside of his disorder, like it really brought to light like people with schizophrenia are just people, and they don't need to be scared. And I think it's important to point out that people with a mental illness are way more likely to be a victim of a violent crime than they are to commit a violent crime.
Right.
And like, I think movies like, this one has to do with dissociative identity disorder, but like movies like Split,
Right.
like,
Right.
there's conversation to be had about that, but.
A good movie to watch about schizophrenia would be A Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe.
You'd recommend that one?
I would recommend that one. Another good one is with Robert Downey Jr. and Jamie Foxx. It's called The Soloist. It's about a guy who can play the cello really good, but he can't get to the point where he'll do concerts because he has too much of a paranoia of crowds and stuff like that.
Okay.
But those are two good movies to watch about schizophrenia that are very famous. They give you a sense of what the disorder is like, and living with a person who has the disorder or interacting with a person who has the disorder. Those cases are more very, very acute, but mine is more diluted, if that's a good word for it.
Maybe less severe?
Less severe. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you would want people to know about schizoaffective?
Ask questions if you don't know, and if they can give them up an answer for you, they'll tell you. And also, just treat them like a normal human being. Don't treat them any different, because I've been treated different before, and it doesn't feel good. And
Educate yourself.
Educate yourself. Get familiar with mental disorders. Triggers is a big thing. Know what they are so that you don't do them around the person. Learn what their coping skills are, their coping mechanisms, so you can help them if they're about to have a manic episode or if they're feeling kind of depressed or something. I haven't been clinically diagnosed with depression, but I think that's what I have, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to get that taken care of as soon as possible.
That's good. We love that. We love a diagnosis on this channel.
Yes, we do.
I'll link down below some of those channels that I referenced, like Dr. Tracy Marks and Living Well with Schizophrenia. If you want to know more about schizophrenic disorders or schizo disorders, or however the way is to refer to it, there's channels that have a lot of information about it. But I want to thank Chris for coming on my channel and being willing to put a face mask on his face and be a little blueberry with me today.
Wear blue.
Wear blue. I just changed it to a big shirt. I was like, I'm gonna be comfy for this one. But anyway, if you have any questions, comments, concerns in a respectful way, leave them down below. Hit like, hit subscribe, and this has been episode 2 of technically masks and mental health, makeup and mental health. So we will see you on the next one, and ready? Bye, Mom.
Bye, Mom.